Hello everyone, today... Now that I have your attention, let's talk about our topic today, which is our third episode, thrash metal. Okay, so Motorhead is what I consider to be the first thrash band of all time. I consider them to be that way because whenever a genre is switching over to a different kind of music, they always retain what they used to be, essentially. So when, Black Sabbath is making their thing, people still consider Black Sabbath to just be hard rock or classic rock, but I consider them to be metal because they have moved all the way over to being metal. They always retain traits of, their influencers. So Motorhead is the same way. It can be known as traditional metal, but I see it more as thrash metal, as it is progressing towards that and overall has more of that style. It's kind of like when the first Europeans came to America. They were, yes, Europeans, but they were kind of the first Americans too. So when Lemmy made his voyage to thrash metal all the way from traditional metal, yes, he was still kind of traditional metal, but he was the big pioneer of thrash metal. That's why I consider Motorhead to be overall a thrash band. I call it more of a thrash band just because of the faster nature of the drums, the guitars, and it overall has this ferocity, not to mention the harsh vocals. Well, not the very harsh vocals, but they were very, very nuanced compared to what we were hearing at the time. Out on the street for living, which is only begun. They were very new. They were very different. And it really showed what was to come for the rest of the genre. Though I love Motorhead and I think it's one of the most creative and influential bands of all time, using a bass as your lead guitar, having only 3 members, and still managing to be the loudest band in the Guinness Book of World Records, and having songwriting that just blows my mind every single time, it does have issues. The biggest one being albums. Now, I think every single one of their albums is good, but the issue that I take with them is that their song consistency is not. I like all the songs on certain albums, and most of their albums, because they are really consistently good. They are like Judas Priest in the sense that they are like the Martin Scorsese of music.
He makes the best films! He makes the best films! If I ever meet him, I'm gonna grab his neck and just shake him and say thank you for making such excellent movies!
I love using that clip. I also love King Missile. Anyways, the song consistency in their albums is not very good. You'll be listening to something that's like a huge, just heavy, thrashing song, and you're just like, yeah, this is great. And then all of a sudden, oh, there's a cover of Louie Louie? What? It's just fucking weird, and it's annoying. So for anyone who's gonna listen to Motorhead, I recommend starting with your best ofs, just to get a feel of them, because they do have these just hardcore heavy metal thrashing bangers, and they're fucking great, but they're often combined with really old school rock and roll kind of stuff, and it's kind of bizarre. Start with their best ofs, and I also highly recommend you listen to more. Ace of Spades is a great album. Overkill is a great album. There's plenty of great albums by them. I would recommend starting with their early work because it's the most influential to the rest of the genre, and it's some of their best work, but I can't say it is their best work considering most of their albums are their best work, because their albums are all really good. As for another really early influence in thrash metal, we can go to Venom. Now, Venom is also known as being an influence in black metal, but they aren't black metal. They are thrash metal. The only reason why they are seen as an influence is because they coined the term black metal with their 1982 hit, which is mainly the album I'm going to point you towards. I really like their first album, Welcome to Hell, but I think it's a little bit long-winded. It's a bit too much. I think it lacks song diversity, and I think it goes on way too long. I might be wrong on this, but I think it's like 12 songs, and it's like, it should have been like 9. It's like, there's like a couple songs on there that are like duplicates. It's like, god damn it, when is the album gonna end? And I think you should just start with black metal, and if you're not into it, move on. It's really not a great band. They have some great work, but the rest of their shit is just shit. At War with Satan is a song that goes on for like a fucking hour, and a bunch of their other stuff is just mediocre at best. It's really not good. Just stay away. Even though they're influential and they're, hey, this big name from the 80s, it's like, just ignore them. They are just boring. They don't do anything special. Venom gave much inspiration to a little band called Slayer. And before we talk about them, we are going to mention a band that preceded their debut by 5 months. A small, unknown, town little country home band. You know, you might have heard of them. They're called Metallica. Here's where I go full controversy mode. I can't fucking stand Metallica. Wait. I'm not done. Don't hate me. I'm not done yet. Let me finish. I really love their first 2 albums. Their first 2 albums are masterpieces. I own both of them. Not on vinyl, sadly, but I own both of them, and I love them. I think I prefer Kill 'Em All over Ride the Lightning, but that's just my personal taste. Kill 'Em All has a much more raw nature to it. It's extremely ferocious. Everything is just amazing. It's so intense, and just everything is thrown at the wall, and it's got it's the perfect album that if someone said, hey, what's thrash metal? You just hand them that. That's Kill 'Em All. It nails it, which is extremely incredible considering it is one of the first thrash metal albums ever. I mean, that's pretty great. This is all before the explosion, which we will talk about. But after Ride the Lightning, which I like Ride the Lightning, I fucking hate this band. After Ride the Lightning, I can't stand them. Here's why. I just think that the Mustaine juice from the first 2 albums ran out. Okay, let me explain myself if you don't understand. Dave Mustaine used to be the lead guitarist of Metallica before they even published albums, and he wrote most of their songs for the first 2 albums, and then they went on to publish 2 albums, like when he was out of the band, using his songs and things like that. So whenever they released the 3rd album, I was just like, oh, Kirk Hammett's in charge now, basically. Okay. Kirk Hammett is not a bad guitarist, and he's not a bad songwriter, but I do not think he fits for Metallica. He is really good at writing songs for Exodus, and we will talk about them later. He's really good for that band. I don't think he fits in Metallica at all. So, in my opinion, listen to the first 2 of Metallica, nothing else. But, by popular demand, they would say you should listen to more, so I'll say listen to, you know, the rest until, what's the one with the Lady Justice? Justice for All? And then Death Magnetic, I think's the ones that people like. And then, oh, there's the newest one. Yeah, listen to that one. Do you guys see how much I don't fucking care? Like, listen to the first 2. Those are fucking great. I just die inside when I talk about the rest. It's so fucking... The reason why I hate it is because their first 2 are... They're so interesting and so different and so nuanced and just so great. And the rest of their stuff is nothing like their earlier work. After Ride the Lightning, they became an entirely different band, and that has soured the milk forever for me. If you can enjoy Metallica post Ride the Lightning, I'm super happy for you. But don't fucking talk to me about them. So, on to Slayer. I really like Slayer. Now, when I say like, I say it in italics, not only in my script, but in my video. I really like Slayer, but they have a lot of problems. I think their bass work is non-existent, and after 1990 they just started sucking. And then 9/11 happened. God Hates Us All is the last good album they had, and the last good album they will have. People ask me quite a bit what I think of them ending tours and breaking up as a band. And here's exactly what I think. It's a publicity stunt. And frankly, if it isn't, I don't give a shit. Because their newest stuff is not worth going to see live, and it's definitely not worth listening at home. So, I don't really fucking care. I don't care about Slayer breaking up, because they are past their prime in every way of the word. Onto their other flaws, they suffer from a disorder that I've mentioned before, F.A.L, which I have an entire video on. It's called How Music Can Be Meaningless, and Slayer is one of those bands where they have so much meaningless lyricism, which is very frustrating. But since I don't want to use other videos to explain a current video, like, you can go on there if you want to see a more in-depth analysis of what music is, and the instrumentals of it, and the lyricism of it, and what it could possibly mean. You can do that, but I'm just going to explain what F.A.L is for the sake of this video. F.A.L stands for fucking awesome lyrics. Now, that sounds great, but it isn't. It's really bad, because fucking awesome lyrics sound really cool, but they don't mean anything. If you know a band with F.A.L, or you're in a band with F.A.L, call the authorities. You need to get help, please, because it is a serious issue. Read a fucking book. Okay, I'm not gonna go that far into making... I'm not gonna make that fun of, like, fucking awesome lyrics, because I like some bands that have fucking awesome lyrics. Slayer is one of them. I think I went a little bit too far already. I'm gonna go through and explain why Slayer is F.A.L. So, here we go. These are some lyrics from a song that I like because of their lyricism, but it overall doesn't mean anything, and it's kind of annoying. But let's tackle the lyrics of The Live Undead from their South of Heaven album. Cascaded darkness, walls close in on me. Nailed shut, but my eyes still see. Severe anguish as my body dissolves. The pain of life after death it resolves. That was fucking awesome. But what does it mean? That's what I'd like to ask. So, I guess the first few lines are about claustrophobia and the coffin doors closing and you being nailed in, and it's like, oh, you're being buried alive, maybe. It's just vague symbolism on death, and it's like, I really just don't get a feeling here, and I don't feel like there's any artistry here. I don't think anyone's writing this down to express themselves. I just feel like they're just going, oh hey, this is cool. It's like, yeah, okay. But why should I care though? The lyrics still sound good, it just doesn't get the artistic oomph. And when I say that, I want to say, not everything has to be super arty. Just when you're writing lyrics, you should be saying something about yourself, or about society, or about fucking anything. You don't have to be super arty, you just have to somewhat express yourself so that you don't look like a hack. Death has a track called Leprosy. Now, a bit of a warning, Death is a death metal band, and you really shouldn't listen to them unless you are ready for that kind of thing. And since we're only on the Thrash video, I'm guessing you're not ready for them. So, not a recommendation for death yet. So, here we go. Leprosy. Bodies deformed way beyond belief. Cast out from their concerned society. Flesh contorting day after day. Freak of the dark world is what the people say. It's essentially about being isolated from your society, and that very isolation is the reason why they are deteriorating. Not just because of leprosy, but it deteriorates them mentally because they get no attention that they crave, and the degradation given to them by the so-called normal people never ends. The other really big issue is that a lot of their stuff can start to sound samey. I remember I was listening to a track off of Show No Mercy with a friend, and he said, "Hey, is this a track off of Rain and Blood?" And it's like, you know, no, it's not, but at the same time it's like, I don't blame you. A lot of their shit sounds really similar, which can be a positive, too. Band consistency is a pretty good thing, and most of the time, when they are releasing new albums, they change it up enough, but it can also sound similar, and I really like that about this band. They always have a certain feel to them, and one of my favorite things is after Rain and Blood, which was by far their hardest album, they decided, we're never gonna match that again, so let's just fucking do whatever we want. And suddenly, instead of fighting for extremity, they would just do whatever they felt. And the following albums are some of their best work, in my opinion. South of Heaven and Seasons in the Abyss are some of my favorites. Seasons in the Abyss being one of my favorites, only being tied with Show No Mercy because I think that's an incredible album. Seasons in the Abyss might actually win that fight. I really like Seasons in the Abyss. The title track is really interesting because 50 seconds in, the riff there, it sounds like a fucking Diablo soundtrack song. It's so great. I love it. Then 1985 happened, and thrash fucking exploded. The prior year having such big hits like Ride the Lightning, Metal Church's debut, the first release of Celtic Frost, and many, many more. Suddenly, bands were getting signed left, right, and center. Dave Mustaine's band Megadeth released their debut that year, and it was harder and faster than anything Metallica was doing at the time. Mustaine once recalled at the time, "After getting fired from Metallica, all I remember is that I wanted blood. Theirs. I wanted to be faster and heavier than them." And boy did he succeed. I think Megadeth is actually the best of the Big Four. The Big Four being Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. I really think Megadeth is the best of the Big Four. They have the highest amount of quality albums in their entire discography. The only ones being bad are Risk and The World Needs a Hero. In fact, I think they are so consistently good that they are like the Martin Scorsese of music. Hey, Frank, how much longer do I have to do this shit? How much longer does this bit go? Oh, okay. So it's just a while, okay? Okay, well, I mean, I'm just on the clock here, and I really want to get out. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just, I fucking hate having to appease these metalheads. They are just these fucking headbanging retards. They are just so stupid. Every fucking day, you call me up. "Hey, Jimmy, you want to go do another shoot? They're getting angry, waiting for a new episode." And I'm just, sometimes it's just like, why are you fucking doing this job, huh? I'm fucking sick of this shit. This is just garbage. Every fucking day, you ask me to do a new shoot, and it's just shit. You barely do anything here. Why do you even work here? You just fucking count the non-existent money. What do? You don't edit. You don't write. You don't fucking act, you piece of shit. All you do is handle this fucking non-existent money. When am I? Honestly, I would recommend all of Megadeth's work, except for Risk and The World Needs a Hero, as I mentioned before. So I would just start with Killing Is My Business, and then go all the way to Countdown to Extinction, and then if you like them, go listen to more. It's really your thing. I think the first... What was that? Like, so Killing Is My Business, Peace Sells, So Far So Good, Rust in Peace, yeah, 5. 5 albums. So, you get a good, solid 5 albums. 3 months later, after Megadeth's debut, Anthrax came out with a big fucking smack of an album. Spreading the Disease is really, really, really good. And it's really unique. It's probably the first big example we have of crossover thrash infiltrating the genre so early on. Madhouse is one of the most iconic songs on the soundtrack, mainly because of its music video. Let's take a look, shall we?
It's time for your medication, Mr. Brown.
That gets me every time. He just comes out and he's like, woo-doo! Like, it's so fucking great. I'll be listening to this track, like, on a radio or something. I'll be listening to, the Google Play Music radio, and this song will come on, and I'll just be laughing. Like, I'll just be fucking laughing in public, and people are like, what? It's great. I love it. I think that's hilarious. So yeah, Spreading the Disease is a really good album, and Anthrax is a really good band. But not perfect. I mean... Oh. Well, never mind. Among the Living is probably one of the best, if not the best, of the entire genre of thrash metal. It is just incredible in every single way. There is only one track on this album that I personally hate, which is Indians, and other people tell me it's one of their favorites off of the album, so I guess I'm just fucking wrong and it's a perfect album in every way. Seriously, they are a perfect band when they play this album. Now, I think I've used this definition before. Perfect band is when literally everything is going perfectly. It doesn't matter with their other discographies, it's just when they're at their best. When they're at their best, they are a perfect band. When they play this album, they have perfect drums that are high velocity, just constant, just great. They have this energetic vocalist along with incredible backing vocals. The bass work is always there, it's always present. The riffs are so rhythmic and match the drum patterns so perfectly, it just... I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack. I can't go on anymore, okay? It's just fucking perfect in terms of thrash metal. Everything is accomplished exactly the way it should be. It's an amazing album. Charlie Benante is one of my favorite drummers, and Danny Lilker has bass work that is just fucking out of this world, even though he left the band shortly after. I forgot to mention that Imitation of Life is a remake of a Stormtroopers of Death song, and I will talk about Stormtroopers of Death. For now, just listen to them. They're fucking hilarious. I love Stormtroopers of Death. I will talk about them in another video most likely. Just wait. As for all of Anthrax, I would recommend these albums. Spreading the Disease, For All Kings, which is their newest album, Persistence of Time, and finally, the best one, Among the Living. And their good but not great albums are The Sound of White Noise, The State of Euphoria, and finally, A Fistful of Metal. I really like A Fistful of Metal. It's kind of like an origin story for what they are to become. You're listening to it and you're like, yeah, this is good, but, you can kind of see, like, what they're to become if you know the band well. It's kind of like watching the first Spider-Man movie, where you're like, wow, this is good. And then, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're doing an origin story, so, things are gonna get a little sloppy. And then you see the second Spider-Man movie, and you're like, fuck! That was great! This video's running a bit long, so I'm gonna make it a two-parter. In the meantime, I'm going to do a recap of the bands and albums you should listen to. I'm going to use the phrase, and more for bands that have such good discographies that if you want to do extra, you should. Motorhead, You'll Get Yours, the best of Motorhead, Overkill, and Ace of Spades, and more. Metallica, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and by popular demand, go all the way from there to And Justice for All. Slayer, Show No Mercy, Hell Awaits, Rain and Blood, South of Heaven, Seasons in the Abyss, and 9/11. Oh my god. God Hates Us All, Megadeth, Killing Is My Business, Peace Sells, So Far So Good, Rust in Peace, Countdown to Extinction, and more. Anthrax, Spreading the Disease, Among the Living, For All Kings. I usually don't do this, but thanks for watching. If you want to help me make videos, the best thing you can do is share this video with someone you know. The more exposure that I get, the more comments, the more ratings, the more reason I have to do this. So, if you want more videos, that's what you should do, because that will make me want to produce more videos, because I'll have a larger audience. And a larger audience means that I have more people to please. And right now, my audience is super small. So if you want more videos, if you want me to work harder, you know, share this video. Share my other videos too, and say, hey, this guy makes okay videos. And, you know, in my opinion, I don't even think they're that. But, just, you know, if you want more videos, show this to a friend. Or show this to multiple friends. I don't care. Just, if you do that, it helps. Thank you for watching. Remember 9/11?